What's up, sports geeks? It's your host, Josh Keeney, here back with another NBA episode. Today I'm joined by Alec. Alec, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. We just got to witness history last night.
Yep, we're on.
It was inevitable. We knew it was coming. But what a game to get it on. Not exactly the result I'm sure they were all hoping for. I know Darvin Ham touched on that in his post-game press conferences. We were just trying to get LeBron the ball. We were not trying to win the game.
Or play any resemblance of defense.
Yes. No, that you gave up 129 to the Oklahoma City Thunder with SGA and friends. I mean, that's like a pickup team when you have one guy that's elite and everyone else is just like, yeah, sure, we'll play with him because he's really good.
Yeah.
That's the Thunder right now.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But either way, I don't want to compare LeBron to Kareem. I don't want to compare him to Jordan. I just want to take in the greatness that we're getting to see. But the Lakers are in serious trouble this year. They need to turn some things around. Kyrie trade.
Yeah, Kyrie trade. A lot has happened since we recorded last.
I mean, it was, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We have seen a lot.
I mean, think about it.
I picked the Nets to win
out
of the East.
You sticking with it?
They're no longer
You sticking with it?
I will say, I know we're going to really dive deep on all this trade here, but I'm not scared of where the Nets are as an organization, but definitely not my pick to win the East.
Cam Thomas, he might be better than Kyrie right now.
Chill. I wouldn't go that far.
3 44-point-plus games in a row.
It's definitely an elite stretch, but he also has not. Like, you got to look at guys that people know how to defend Kyrie.
Well, I also think that he will not always shoot 60% from three. So, and he will not always shoot the James Harden. He shot 20 free throws yesterday, so he's not always going to shoot 20 free throws.
And you got to think people know how to guard Kyrie, right? Because you have
film,
hours and hours of film on him.
Yeah. Whereas
Cam Thomas, it's he had a 15-point game earlier in the season. I mean, you have no film on him.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to. Now, I don't want to say fall off. He's going to regress.
Well, he's going to come back to reality.
Yeah. He's going to regress back to the mean. Yeah. Now, that's not saying he can make a push for most improved player.
Yeah.
Because I think it's pretty much been SGA's award all year.
And Markkanen.
Yeah, Markkanen. I mean, it's been a battle between those two.
Yep.
Cam Thomas could definitely. If he were to get to the point where he were to end up averaging 18 to 20, you got to look at if you're truly looking at most improved, he was nothing last year.
Yeah.
He played in the summer league.
He was nothing. He had a lot of inactives this year where he just didn't come off the bench.
Yeah, not inactive injury.
Coach's decision to not get in the game. So
yeah, definitely interesting to see how he develops, especially to see what he does with KD. Because if you're the Nets, you want to win now, right? With KD, who's what? How old is he?
34.
34. You're not in a rebuild type stage, or we're going to win a championship in 5 years type of stage.
It's also not a LeBron 34.
Right.
It's a torn Achilles. Kind of more of a slender body.
Right. Now 34. He has been spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
but
Kevin Durant can play till he's 42 and still average 20 points a game just because of how elite his mid-range is.
And this is something, if LeBron were to stop playing basketball right now, I think KD would break his record.
You think?
I think so. I'm going to pull it up where he's at, but I believe that KD, currently right now, he's sitting at 27,000 points at the age of 34. I would like to think we have 3 more seasons out of him, averaging 30 a game.
Okay.
Right? And so just doing some math here.
That's 24. That's over 2,400.
Well, 30, I'm going to assume he's going to play 70 games a season, right?
That's 2,100.
So you're looking at 2,100 a season times 3, right? For 3 more seasons, you're set at 6,300. That puts him at 33K.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you look at, probably 3 seasons of 25, right? So 25 times 70 times 3 is 52. That puts him at 38,000.
Yeah. It's close.
And that's at the age of 40. Now, I don't know. He definitely does not have LeBron's body type to play.
No, that's the problem.
And he's not. LeBron's going to play for another 4 years and end up with 43,000 minimum.
It's going to be. He might hit the 45K.
Yeah.
If I was thinking about this, yesterday when we were watching. If LeBron hits 45K, that's never being broken.
It's going to be very difficult.
It would take somebody 22 years of averaging 29 points a game to break that.
Now, I will say this is the exact same thing that everybody's. There's.
I do agree.
When Kareem broke, Welt's record and then went on to set it at 38K. I will say, if anybody's going to do it in today's NBA, it's Luka.
Luka, but
Luka
again,
started young enough. He started at the same age as LeBron.
He averages 28 for his career.
Yeah.
So
Luka,
26.
if he can stay healthy his career,
Mhm.
I think can. And I also think that what we're seeing is longevity is just getting more and more common, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like LeBron started it,
Yep.
right? You look at like LeBron's draft class. Like
Yep.
D Wade's gone, right?
Melo.
Bosh is gone. Melo's gone. But LeBron's carried on. But LeBron has set a precedent on what needs to be done.
Mm.
He said he spends, 7 figures a year on just treating his body. So now a guy like Luka knows, hey, I need to spend 7 figures a year.
Yeah.
You think that's probably not a problem for him.
Yeah.
But
you're saying like the precedent has been set to like they're like a blueprint.
Yeah, of what you need to do to have that longevity.
Yeah.
20 years ago, it was like, hey, look, you just try to play every game you can.
Well, it's like it was kind of like the Kobe thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if Kobe would have actually taken care of his body and not ran it into the ground every day, which part made him great, but he could have played for another 3-4 years, I think.
Yeah.
So,
but now a guy like Luka understands what he needs to do, and that 20 years ago, like I said, is going to be. They were like, play every game you can, play as hard as you can. If you need to play, Will averaged 48.5 minutes in a season.
Yep.
Like, do you think there was any, care about his body?
No, and that was definitely without the physical therapy, the treatment that everybody has today. So.
Right. You look at how much the technology that we're having. In 30 years, there's probably gonna be people with there's gonna be multiple people with 40K.
I also think that there's gonna be multiple people playing till they're 42, 43 in 30, 40 years.
Yeah, I agree. But either way, what LeBron's done's phenomenal. My GOAT, it took me a while, but for me, this has to cement it.
Yeah, so he most points, top 5 in assists.
Yep.
And he has 10,000 rebounds.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty elite.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to say 6 finals losses, but he has 4 rings.
Yeah.
So it's not like he has 0. It's not like the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady argument where Brady has 7 and Rodgers has 1.
Right.
Like it's 4-6. It's not 6-1 or 6-2.
The only argument you can make for Jordan is that he was 6 for 6 and LeBron was 4 for 10.
Yep. But also, are you good at?
It's just difficult.
It's difficult. Yeah.
But in my opinion, he's a GOAT. I can understand the argument. But dude, I tell you what, I think it was Stan Van Gundy last night was on the call.
Mm-hmm.
Dude was just talking. He was just dying to get Kareem to sign something after the game, I swear, because every time that they would bring up, obviously they have the counter, right?
Yep.
LeBron's 22 points away, whatever. And every time that they would bring something up, do we think LeBron's going to attempt a skyhook? Nobody can do justice to Kareem's skyhook. Kareem was such a good player. It's like, dude, Kareem did that. We know. This is LeBron's night.
It is LeBron's night. And I think that, I felt bad for Kareem because he looked pissed.
He did look, and it's just a difficult thing because
it is.
You look at when Steph broke the 3-point record, Ray Allen's there, right?
Yep.
And Reggie Miller's there.
Yep.
You have all the greatest shooters, all the guys that he has said I'm better than is there, right? And Klay Thompson's there, obviously.
Yeah.
But
he's a top 5
so then, when you're passing Kareem when he retired thought nobody's ever going to touch it.
Yeah.
I'm cemented in NBA history forever.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like, oh shit. So, I'm sure,
I get it.
I'm sure it was bittersweet, right? I'm super happy for him. But at the same time, that is everybody's a little bit selfish, right?
Oh, well, I feel like in order to even score 38,000 points, you have to have a little bit of an ego. Mm-hmm. And it's hard.
Well, when you're the NBA leading scorer for 25 years, it would be hard to not have an ego.
Absolutely.
Nobody's touched my record for 25 years.
It'd be hard. It'd be really hard. But, it happened. And the thing about it is, if you're Kareem, you've had 4 years to, kind of rationalize, hey, Bron is not slowing down. He's going to break the record.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. I'm sure it was difficult for him, but either way, cool.
It was awesome to see, and it sucks they lost. Lakers are a dumpster fire, but I don't know. It was awesome to see. Just the only problem I had was TNT didn't even have their A team.
Yeah.
For the game, I wanted Kevin Harlan on the call. I wanted everybody in the studio, but it was an awesome night, and people trashing LeBron for celebrating afterwards. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Now I will say I think it is a little bit excessive to stop the game.
Oh, yes.
I'm beyond happy for LeBron. He's my GOAT. I love that he broke the record. Super cool moment. I want you to stop the game, call the timeout, give him the ball.
Let's not do a 15-minute
We don't need to have Adam Silver interviewing him on the court
with 10 seconds left in the third quarter.
Like, I tell you what I did is I went and live bet the Thunder because I was like, there's no way the Lakers are coming back from this, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They came out and were like, oh, we have to play.
Yeah.
And the Thunder are pissed. Right?
Well, AD was staying that all night.
Yeah. Well, you can tell that LeBron's trying to break the record. AD wants to make the playoffs, and AD didn't play like. I will say this. This is my last point on this LeBron thing. Is that the biggest winner? Not actually, obviously, LeBron's the biggest winner. AD had a huge win last night because of LeBron's performance. It is going to be overlooked at how soft he played.
Oh yeah.
They played a team without a center, and he had 8 rebounds in the game.
Jalen Williams was guarding Anthony Davis, and Jalen Williams weighs, I would say, at least 30 to 40 pounds less than Anthony Davis.
AD has at least 3 inches on him.
If you're ever being guarded by Mike Muscala in an NBA game, you should have, and you're Anthony Davis, you should have 40. And I know last night was about LeBron.
Right. No, last night it was look,
I get
LeBron's going to score, AD's not going to.
Yeah.
But rebounding-wise, you should not, rim protection-wise.
You should have.
He played one of the softest games I've ever seen out of anybody. Just timid.
Yeah.
He looked like somebody that's that just rolled an ankle really badly, or has a super
well, I don't know if it was some jealous thing that was going on or something like that, because he just looked very disconnected and did not want to be out there. It was super weird because I thought they have a good relationship.
Yeah, in every instance we've really seen, they have.
Yeah.
But last night was a little bit of drama. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how do the Lakers, bounce back from this, because
the Bucks.
Yeah, you have the Bucks tomorrow night.
Yeah.
A national televised game. Do you come out and just get walloped by the Bucks? Does Giannis say, "Hey, cool, but I'm going to break it in 10 years"? He's not going to. But in his mind, he's probably thinking so, right? Are they going to be able to come back to reality here and say, "Look, we got to make the playoffs now"? Awesome, we have the career, all-time leading point scorer in the NBA, but we have to make the playoffs.
And look at the standings. It's to kind of transition into that. It is nice for them because they're only 2 games out of the play-in. So for how many terrible losses they've had so far, I mean, there's 5 or 6 losses where you're like, dude, how do you lose that game?
Yeah.
And they're still only 2 games out of a potential playoff berth, which is really unbelievable if you think about it.
The West has been rough this year. But let's just stay on the topic of the West here. And the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes.
This is the other big topic for this video here, obviously. Huge trade. Kyrie comes out of nowhere, says, I want to be traded. Absolutely shocks the world. Everybody thinks that him and KD have perfect chemistry. Says that
KD's about to come back from injury.
Yeah, you went through the hard part, right? KD's coming back.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, demands a trade. The Nets have interest from basically every team in the NBA that wants to compete. The Clippers, the Lakers, the Mavericks are in. The Suns want him. The Suns are offering Chris Paul. Now, I don't understand this. Every team is revealing what they were willing to give up for him now that they didn't get him. If I'm Chris Paul and I play for the Suns, right? And I love the Suns organization. Kyrie goes to the Mavs, and the Suns come out and say, "Yeah, we were trying to get rid of Chris Paul." I'd be like, "Dude, screw you guys!" You know what I mean? That would not help my moral satisfaction.
No, it would. It would not be good to leak that to a Shams or a Woj. I would not want to leak that.
No, but either way. So here's this trade. I'll pull this up here. So we have the Brooklyn Nets receive Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 second round, 2029 second round, and an unprotected 2029 first round. I think the picks are pretty much useless.
Yep.
Second round picks, especially in the NBA,
are pretty useless.
But
the unprotected first is kind of nice.
The unprotected first is nice, but it's in 6 years.
Yeah.
I understand it's nice to get picks, but it's not helping at all.
Yeah.
But it also, what it does is it provides a lot of cap space relief, and it gets rid of that mentality of Kyrie, the virus, you could say, of Kyrie in your locker room. you have to see something in Cam Thomas if you're going to move on.
Yeah, and I think they did.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I mean, last 3 games we've seen, he's scored over 130 points in 3 games.
Yeah.
So that's pretty elite. But they definitely saw something because you don't. Now, Spencer Dinwiddie is a bucket. He really is. I think he's pretty good.
Yes.
But is he like this value doesn't match up? Like, take the off the court stuff out of it. Take Kyrie personality out of it. This trade is very mismatched. Like, Dallas wins in a landslide from a talent perspective.
Yes. Now, Dallas received Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris. Now, Markieff Morris was not mentioned in any post you ever saw. It was that the Dallas Mavericks trade for Kyrie Irving, and here's what they gave up. Markieff Morris is not as good as his brother, Marcus Morris, but is a very decent role player.
Oh, and on a team where they're lacking depth.
Yes.
The
and
Mavericks
especially
lack depth.
When you look at a team that, like, a good defensive presence would be clutch. You just gave up Dorian Finney-Smith, who was a good defensive presence. Mm-hmm. You're getting Kyrie Irving, who really isn't. Mm-hmm. So you're down a defensive presence. Markieff Morris makes up for that. And I'm not saying he's going to be a 12 points a game guy, but he could be a lock-up, Devin Booker for 4 possessions, and hold Devin Booker to 6 points in
a quarter
on 2 of 8 from shooting in a quarter. Like, that could be something that you could get out of him in a playoff game.
Yep.
And so I don't think it's a loss for Brooklyn because you do get rid of the virus, and you have cap space now. Mm-hmm. And if you can manage to keep KD, there's not a player in the league that doesn't want to play with KD other than Kyrie, I guess.
Yeah, or Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, which I guarantee KD's not saying Russell Westbrook is the guy he wants to target in free agency.
Yeah.
But, like, you could be seeing a ton of guys, like somebody like Zach LaVine.
Yeah.
Somebody like De'Aaron Fox. Like somebody like so you could see a big star from somewhere else that he could be like, yeah, sure. Like
you could, honestly, that the De'Aaron Fox thing makes sense. You could honestly see the Kings make a move for KD. Mm-hmm. They have so many young guys. They could get rid of Murray. They could get rid of Mitchell.
Get rid of Murray, Monk, and Mitchell,
and maybe a pick.
Now, who wins that still?
Depends on how well
I think both teams win that because the Nets get to completely commit to the rebuild.
But then the Kings would have a trio of Sabonis, Fox. I think honestly that'd be the best trio. Other than, I'm still biased because I've seen too many times they win. It's just the Warriors trio is like elite in the playoffs.
Yes, so. It is. But so looking at giving us a grade here, how would you grade this from Dallas's perspective?
Dallas, I think it's I'm kind of bullish on this. I'm going to go an A-.
Okay.
But that's just because the picks are so far in advance. And if you're going to tell me, like, okay, you want Kyrie or Spencer Dinwiddie, like the Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm taking Kyrie. I'm sorry. Like, I'm banking on the talent because the talent is just so much more significant than those two. So, I mean, I'll give it an A-.
That's what I would give it as well. I think Markieff Morris is a good piece to add on to this as well. What you lose out of Dorian Finney-Smith, you get back, I would say probably like 75% of that in Markieff Morris. Mm-hmm. What you lose in Spencer Dinwiddie, you get like 150% of that
exactly.
in Kyrie. Yep. So I think the value's good.
What would you give Brooklyn?
Brooklyn is interesting because if they go on to move Dinwiddie for something else, I would give them a higher grade because you get to turn that into a star. But looking at this from Brooklyn's perspective, I'm going to give them like a C, maybe a C-. Like, the picks don't help your rebuild. You're not a rebuilding organization. You need to win in the next 3 years because that's KD's prime. And what you just gave up is directly correlated to winning in the next 3 years. I'm going to give him a C- probably.
Yeah.
It might be a little harsh, but...
No, I mean, it makes sense, though, because on paper they lose by so much. But also, we don't know, like, if the locker room was that toxic and they just had to get rid of him, it makes sense. And they weren't going to give him to L.A.
No.
Like, not the Clippers, but the Lakers.
No, they did not want to give him to the Lakers.
Because that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And Joe Tsai, who is the Nets owner, was like, that's not happening.
No, I will say Kyrie has completely trashed the Nets organization since he's left. And there's been a lot of, like, whiplash back on the Nets for this. Like, I know I've read some reports that teams have been, like, not willing to offer good trade packages to get Kevin Durant because they don't want to help the Nets because of everything that Kyrie said of how, like, toxic the Nets were to him.
Yeah, and also, I saw this in an article yesterday. When is the last time that 3 superstar players in one organization have all asked for a trade within a year.
Yeah.
It's never happened before.
Yeah.
So there are serious problems, probably. I
Yeah.
mean, in the Nets organization. But, it's still a bad trade for the Nets.
It is. I'm curious to see what they do. One, if they, trade deadlines tomorrow. This would be recorded on Wednesday the 8th. This should be posted later today.
Mm-hmm.
But this, so the trade deadline's tomorrow. Do we see Brooklyn move anything? And I think there's also a couple more pieces that, we could be seeing. I know as a Pistons fan, I really don't look forward to getting anybody, but we could give up Bogdanovich. You could see go.
Yeah, there's a couple sellers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like people to look at. So the Jazz. Have you been looking into that?
Mm-mm.
A lot of reports about the Jazz.
Oh, Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah. So Jared Vanderbilt. I could also see Jordan Clarkson being moved, but just because he can get a bucket.
Yeah, he is. He would be somebody that would be great for the Lakers.
Yeah, 100%.
You need somebody that could provide a secondary scoring option when LeBron and AD aren't in, because LeBron and AD's minutes tend to match up. They tend to kind of sync those together a lot. So maybe there's 4 minutes that AD plays each half with no LeBron. But if those sync up, then they're not on the court and you just have Westbrook, you have to have somebody else that can create. And Jordan Clarkson's the perfect guy for that. But kind of moving on from this trade here, the NBA season is kind of getting towards that last little push, right? And there's going to be a lot of teams that move. There's going to be a lot of moving in the standings here.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're super high on the Kings.
Yeah,
talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I think the Kings. If any overall sports fans, if you guys watch the NFL too, the Kings to me are like the Vikings.
That's a perfect comp.
You just think they're frauds all year, but they win. They somehow keep winning. I really do think that. I really think the Kings are going to fall off. I mean, they're still a 3 seed right now.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, between the 3 seed and the 10 seed, there's only a 4-game difference. Yeah. So, but still, 3 seed's a 3 seed.
If you were to go even farther, between the 3 seed and the 12 seed, there's a 4.5 game difference. Looking at these teams, if Portland were to play the Kings at home, I would lean Portland in that game right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If OKC were to play them at home, I would probably lean Sacramento. If the Jazz played them at home, that'd be a toss-up.
I think if the Jazz played at home, they could beat them.
Yeah. If the Timberwolves are rough, but looking at beyond that, if the Lakers played them at home, I'm taking the Lakers right now. There's a lot of teams here that have a lot of capabilities that their ceilings are significantly higher than the Kings.
Well, yeah. So looking at this, in the last 10 games, the Clippers and Suns are both 8-2. They're coming into form now. The Suns definitely are.
Suns definitely are, and
Booker's back, and they won all these games without Booker.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul's not even scoring. He's dishing. He's dishing big time.
A lot of assists right now.
No.
DeAndre Ayton is earning himself.
And it's scary because Kawhi's kind of coming back into form, which is I personally love Kawhi.
I love Kawhi.
Just because he's just a no nonsense. I just want a ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a definition of leave everything out of it. I just want to play basketball.
Yep.
And the Clippers are my dark knight to win. Or my dark horse, not dark knight. Dark horse to win the NBA championship. And I have to say I put $5 on them just because I said screw it, let's do it. That's what that's a meal at McDonald's. I'll not eat at McDonald's one day. I'll put $5 and I'll win $50 once they win the championship in June, because that team plays elite defense, has several scorers, and I'm very high on teams when you play without a star player. Without multiple stars, you have guys that take on those roles. Reggie Jackson, right? Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell. Now you bring back your stars, and you have Reggie Jackson and Norman Powell, who were winning you games when they were starting off your bench.
Norman Powell, I thought this when he was on the Blazers. That dude can score.
The trade between the Blazers and the Clippers that consisted of Simons and Powell, like kind of basically flip flopping, was perfect. And then obviously they got Covington as well. Covington's good, dude.
He's pretty good. He can defend too.
He can defend really well. Now I will say the Nuggets are still my favorite. The Nuggets, if you pull this up here, I'm going to pull it up as I'm talking about it. The Nuggets 3-point shooting is this is going to piss some people off, and I know it because of the Warriors teams that we've seen, is the best 3-point shooting team to ever exist. And
that's you got to think about that. That's a bold statement.
I understand that's a bold. Their leading 3-point shooter is DeAndre Jordan, by the way. He's 1 for 1 on the season. But KCP is shooting 46%.
I saw that. Yep.
Vlatko Konchar is shooting 1 3-pointer per game, right? But shooting at a 45% clip. MPJ is shooting 7 per game at a 42% clip. And then you have Bruce Brown, Jamal Murray, and Aaron Gordon, and Jokic, all shooting at 38 plus or higher. And then you have Bones Highland at 38 as well. Like, you have so many guys that shoot at a, borderline elite 3-point.
Yeah, and I think the 3-point percentage clip for elite is rising as people get better at threes.
Right.
But what are they shooting as a team?
40%.
They're shooting 40% from three as a team. That is insane because you think about other teams that they would be playing potentially in the first round, like Minnesota or New Orleans. I mean, how are you supposed to compete if somebody's shooting 40% from three?
No.
In a 7-game series. It's not like the NFL where it's one game.
Yeah, where you can have one down game.
You can have one down game. It's a 7-game series. And the odds, and that always translates, I feel like.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking at this right now. I'm going to pull up where they would rank. Here we go. They would rank as a team in the league if they would be top 40 as an individual player, and that's their team average.
Yeah.
Here's some guys that they're above. Kevin Huerter, Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, D'Angelo Russell. Some of these guys are good shooters.
Paul George is too. We've seen Paul George average 27 points a game for 7 years now.
Yeah. This Denver team's dangerous, and Jokic is unguardable. And we've said that time and time again, and we just watched them put up 149 points in the game, 49 in the first quarter against Minnesota with supposedly a phenomenal defensive center, Rudy Gobert.
I mean, Anthony Edwards is not bad at defense. They have some guys that are not bad at defense, and they gave up 149 to the Nuggets. The Nuggets are for real. I know a couple weeks ago I said I just don't know if I trust them in the playoffs. How they're playing right now translates. Will translate.
It is to go into Denver. We see it time and time again. Teams go into Denver and get walloped.
Yep.
And it's not like you lose. It's like Jokic isn't playing the fourth quarter and you lose.
Well, it's I know this isn't about betting, but if you were just to be smart and just bet every first quarter and first half that Denver plays at home, you could be like a millionaire.
Yeah.
Because it is hard to go to Denver because of the altitude.
It's the altitude, and it's also just how good when Jokic is in the game, they're going to get open threes. And I think that is directly correlated with the percentage.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
If you gave any other team in the league the open threes that Denver gets, the amount, the volume that Denver gets, they probably shoot at a great clip as well. But guess what? You don't have anybody that can attract as much attention. If you decide, hey, you know what, we're not going to double him, okay, he'll put up 40. Yeah,
and we see that some games he'll have 12 points, okay? But they're doubling him, tripling him. And then he'll have 14 assists. Yeah. He's fine. He doesn't care if he scores 10.
If they had the hockey assist, and just one, right? So I'm not saying three guys getting assists, just two guys getting assists.
I think he would have he'd average 17 assists.
I think he would be borderline 20.
You think?
I think so because if you just think of
that shovel, he just does that shove he does the extra, and then because he does the extra, MPJ or whoever catches it does another extra.
Well, yeah, and if you think about common basketball defense, right? How you're taught to play defense,
the rotations.
You always help the helper. That's a common phrase.
Yep.
So if you help and go double to Jokic, I have to help you, but no one's there to help me.
Yeah.
So I help your guy on the wing, and there's someone wide open in the corner every time. And so this Denver team can legitimately they can translate, and you don't just shoot badly on open threes for a series.
No, especially when you're in the NBA.
You're right. And the last thing that I know this is getting long with the Nuggets here, but when you have to play 4 games, they're going to be the 1 seed, right?
They're 4.5 games up on Memphis, but Memphis is 2-8 in their last 10. It's going to be hard for Memphis to kind of circle the wagons.
Yeah, 4-8
make a push.
4-8 with 27 left.
Yeah.
Or 4.5 games back with 27 left, and Denver's just Jamal Murray's playing like bubble Jamal Murray recently. Yeah. But the last comment: if you're the 1 seed, you have to win at Denver, and you have to win at Denver to win a series against them. I don't like it. You have to win every game at home and then win at least 1 at Denver. I don't like it.
I mean, they got Yo. He is going to win his 3rd straight MVP, I think. He should.
He's going to lead the league in assists.
Yeah. Well, Halliburton's leading it now.
I don't think Halliburton's going to, though.
Well, so we recorded like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
So in 2 weeks, he's already moved his assist up 0.3. He's up to 10.2.
He is currently...
And it was 9.9.
Where's that? He is currently 0.1 assists behind Tyrese Halliburton.
Yep.
And has shown no signs of stopping.
I also see the Pacers kind of falling off. So I just don't know if the 10-plus assists for Tyrese Halliburton is going to continue.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I also think that Jokic is just like insanely. I want to pull up his where's his recent game log.
Well, so last night, we're recording this on Wednesday.
He had 16.
Yeah, he had 16 assists, 1 turnover, and he had a triple-double in like 17 and a half minutes.
He had triple-double at halftime.
Yeah. He had a triple-double with 1:40 left in the second quarter.
Yeah, I know. I looked 4.5 minutes into the game, and he had 0 rebounds and 1 assist.
Yep.
I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, well, usually he balls out in the first 6 minutes.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. Yeah. I was so confused. Yeah. I was like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
And then, sure enough, I look at halftime, 10-10. I'm like, geez. But, okay, here it is, last 5 games. Assist numbers, last 5 games. 9, 15, 16, 10, 16. 3 times he's cleared 15 assists.
Okay, so in the turnovers are 1, 5, 3, 5, 7. So he literally has, I don't know, like just rough estimating, probably like a 4 or 5 assist to turnover ratio.
He's at 19 assists, and he's sitting at 42. You're sitting at 56-19. You're sitting at a 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
3-1 is spectacular.
I mean, he's a center.
That's spectacular.
He's a center.
That's spectacular for a point guard.
Yeah.
Now, Jokic is better than a lot of point guards.
I think Jokic, if you told me, okay, you're starting a team today, but Jokic had to play point guard, bring it up like every time, I'd be absolutely fine with that.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay.
Okay, yes. I mean, the conditioning would be a problem.
The conditioning, but everybody always harps on his conditioning, and he looks like he's out of shape. He looks like he's very out of shape. But how many times do you see him not playing a game? Because
it's kind of just like lumbers.
When he runs, it looks like he's like boom, 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 boom. Like he looks like so lazy when he runs. Like when he runs, it looks like you're like forcing him to run.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I don't think his conditioning, I'm sure if his conditioning was an issue, it would be figured out by now.
Oh, absolutely. Also, eventually I'd love to do like we could give you guys an episode or something where he was drafted, I just saw that, in the 2nd round.
He's the best 2nd-round player to ever exist.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, if you look at it, because I've looked this up before, there's one old-timer that was really good that I can't think of off the top of my head. I can't remember who it was. But he was the only other person that was like, oh yeah. And then Draymond Green was the first pick in the 2nd round.
By the Cavs.
What?
By the Cavs.
They just traded Golden State?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that.
Ironic.
Cavs traded away Andrew Wiggins too.
Well, they also traded away the GOAT. They cut Anthony Bennett, didn't they?
Oh, for a hot second, I thought you were talking about LeBron, and I'm like, wait a second. Okay, so kind of to wrap things up here.
Yep.
Looking at the next, it's probably going to be 5 or 7 days until we get another episode. Looking at the next 5 or 7 days, what are some games that really stand out to you? I know tomorrow we have.
Yeah, there's some good games.
Tomorrow we have Milwaukee against the Lakers, which is a huge game.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking forward to the next week. Kind of my checklist to watch for in the NBA. Can Cam Thomas keep it up? Kind of like we talked about a little bit. And also I'm really intrigued with this Milwaukee team because I think Milwaukee. I mean, they've won what? They've won 8 in a row.
Yeah.
They are really good. And their schedule, they play Lakers tomorrow, which is Thursday, and then they play the Clippers on Friday. That's a tough back-to-back.
Yes.
So it's going to be nice to see them on this road trip to see like if they can kind of, get it together.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, the few games that I'm really looking forward to are the Bucks, Lakers, because I think the Bucks are going to wallop the Lakers. The Lakers are going to have a real big turnaround here in mentality, which isn't impossible, but
they've done it before.
The Clippers' next 4 games, I'll even go as far as to say their next 6 games, are extremely important. Listen to this. You have Dallas at home, and that's tonight. I don't think Kyrie's playing, but I have not seen an official report yet. You have home against Milwaukee, which obviously we just said is going to be a great game. You play home against Golden State, which Steph Curry-less probably.
Also, fun fact about Golden State on the road, I want you to guess what their road record is.
Oh, I know, it's terrible. How many games have they played?
27.
27 games. I'm going to guess 10-17.
They're 7-20 on the road. Okay, sorry, keep going.
No. So they play Golden State. They're probably going to be without Steph Curry. I haven't heard any official timelines on him.
I saw All-Star break.
Okay, which that would make sense. And then, so I guess we'll just highlight the 4 here before the All-Star break.
Yep.
Dallas, Milwaukee, Golden State, at Phoenix to close it out. Those are 4 playoff teams and like contenders. Real quick, last point here. Phoenix, DeAndre Ayton has earned himself a lot of money in the last week and a half. A lot of money. He's played phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like him and Chris Paul showed very good chemistry, and he's playing at an elite level. And if you put that with Devin Booker without including Chris Paul in the picture, I think it's a great picture. It's a great team. When you add in Michael Bridges,
has been balling.
A healthy Cam Johnson. I think this Phoenix team could be dangerous. I don't think they beat Denver or the Clippers.
No, I don't think so either. But I think if Chris Paul kind of came back to what he was last year, maybe Chris Paul 2 years ago. Yeah. I would say Chris Paul 2 years ago when they made the finals.
Yeah.
They could do something. But yeah, I mean, Bridges is averaging 17 a game now because he has to.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
He has to because Booker's been out.
Yeah, he's also been a very elite defender too.
Yeah, and also real quick, I was looking at this today. Damian Lee, we're talking about 3-point percentage.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the NBA in 3-point percentage, basically 47% from 3. On 4 shots a game, on 4 threes a game, which is insane.
That is insane.
It's crazy.
But, I think in the next week, we'll probably do one right before the All-Star game. Mm-hmm. The All-Star game will be next Saturday. Or next Sunday, 1 or 2. So we'll do one right before then. And really talk about, we'll kind of focus in on All-Star a little bit, talk about some All-Star snubs.
Yep.
I know those have already come out, but we'll talk about some All-Star snubs. We might do an All-Star draft as if we were it's LeBron and Giannis. Right?
It probably is. It's right before the All-Star game now.
Like the draft is.
The draft. The draft.
Yeah, so we might do one as if we were them, which could be fun. But I think that's all for today. We got some more coming. We have a Super Bowl preview coming tomorrow. That'll be posted on Thursday the 9th. And then we got some more college basketball coming. It is the best time in sports right now. The next 3 months are the best time. So definitely going to be some good episodes coming out here. But any closing comments or what we got?
No, it's going to be a good week of the NBA.
Yes, it is going to be a good week. But this was the Sports Geeks podcast. They play, we talk. Thanks, guys.